So now I would just like to show you some synthesizers and pads and ambient sounds that I like to use once in a while in my songs. And let's start, for example, with putting other instruments. And here, let's start with the core player. And this is the free demo version of the core player by Native Instruments, which is a sound library. Unfortunately, they discontinued this thing, as far as I know, which is kind of sad because it's actually pretty cool. So when I use pianos, I really love the one that's in here, the Dubplate Piano. So let me turn on the keys in here. See, it sounds very dry as a usual piano, but I got some cool parameters to tweak here that makes it sound awesome. For example, let's turn on the reverb. I like to turn this all the way up, the size probably to halfway. Then definitely a high pass filtering, but not too much, around 150 Hertz. What's also very important to make piano sit in the mix better is to boost it at the right frequency. Since they already have a one-band equalizer in here, which you can work with, I don't use an extra equalizer in Cubase, so I turned this to 5 kilohertz and boost this pretty much. Then I like to turn on the saturation and a little bit more of the pump. Makes it louder, turn down the volume. I love this one, especially this nice crackling in the background. It's kind of tape saturation in there. I love this. And it's still the general principle with the EQ ring applies. Also, if you have other piano plugins, some cheap ones or someone that comes with your DAW, you can always insert an EQ and try to put more focus on around 5 kilohertz and a bit higher even maybe, because the piano really shines in this area and sounds nice and sparkly. And then also definitely cut out some of the very low end to clean it up some more, but don't cut too much, otherwise it will start to sound weak. If I show you this here, see, and also the lower notes don't come out as good. So cut around 150 Hertz is sufficient. And also, if necessary, you can also lower around 500 Hertz a bit to clean up some muddiness and that the piano doesn't interfere too much with your guitars. Another thing that I like to use from this library is if we go to the Synth Pad folder, then on here the sound again, the first one, Abyss Flowers. There it is. Sounds nice and spacey and can still tweak a lot of stuff in there. Also got 8 presets for pretty much every sound in there. Sounds pretty cool. And also the Exhale in Paradise sounds very similar but more windy. The cool thing with this one is if I turn on the atmosphere, it has this kind of broken transmission effect, which I also love very much. And it got lots of other cool stuff in there. Another one that I like, which I used in the song Star Child at the very beginning with this weird broken speech transmission, or whatever you want to call it. This is from the vocal section, and I think it was the transmission from space. Yeah. I don't know exactly how I tweaked this, but it was this one. And I took some higher note. Ah, there it is. Sounds pretty freaky. Then let's go on to some other cool free stuff. I put for the following synthesizers, I put a download link in the description. One that I also like is the Serenity. Here it is. It's also free and pretty versatile. You got a lot of options in here and a lot of presets. For example, the where is it? Angel Choir sounds pretty cool. With those kinds of pads, I still like to tweak the tone a little bit with some equalization. Basically the same approach as with the pianos. I cut the low end somewhere in this area, take out some 500 Hertz. Notice it's already cleaning up nicely, and then boost around 5 kilohertz. That makes it sit better in the mix and not destroy the guitars or whatever, but makes it sound clear. Now what I would like to show you is how to make a rhythmic stutter effect in a synthesizer. And for this I prepared a little something. This is another free synthesizer. I don't know exactly where I got this from, so unfortunately I cannot provide you with a download link. Just try to Google for Charlatan version so and so, whatever. This is a very basic synthesizer. It just has 2 oscillators to generate some sine waves. As you can see, it doesn't have a lot of options, just a triangle and a square and a random noise, and then some pitch shifting and filtering. Nothing big really. And with this I just make the simple noise tone. And the cool thing is I pick a very low note, you get this fluttering. And that's because of what I did with the second oscillator. The first one, as you can see, I just picked the noise option. And the second one is sort of layered together with the first one. And in here I have the saw sine wave and with the ring option turned on. So if I were to turn the ring button off, you hear the basic frequency of the second oscillator by itself in the background there. Makes it sound like a windy fart. But with this turned on, both of them are combined, creating this fluttering and the noisy sound. And I also leave the sync button off because if I turn this on, I lose the fluttering in there. So this is the basic sound I want to work with now. And then what I did first in here is I automated the cutoff button. So if I play this now, you see the cutoff button is moving on its own like magic. Really spooky. Now comes the rhythmic stuttering stuff. For this, I picked the mute option in the automation bar. That turns on here. You can already see what I did. So I just picked the 16th note in the snapping option, and then I put some muting gaps in there. And you'll notice this gives the sort of rhythmic feel to it. Of course, you can do a whole lot more of this stuff. some way better rhythmic patterns and other cool automation of the cutoff frequency. This is just a very basic demonstration here. Then what I also like to add on this sound is the TSE 808 with the drive and the tone all the way up and the volume a bit down. This gives the whole thing more of a mid boost, because as you notice, when the cutoff is going down, it's losing a bit of the volume. And this also gives a whole lot of aggression to the sound. And if I were to put the beat from before on there, it sounds pretty freaky. So this is just a little something I still wanted to share with you while I am in the mixing stage. I sometimes incorporate stuff like this into my songs. So I hope you had fun so far with all the mixing parts, and stay tuned for the concluding parts to come.